Hey guys, welcome to FM400 of the Further Maths Fortify study guide. This question reads, Jeremiah sells succulents at his local farmer's market. He buys the succulents for $2.80 each. Jeremiah offers a discount to his customers as they buy more succulents at once. The revenue in dollars Jeremiah receives from one customer is given by this revenue equation here, which has three different sections to it, where S is the number of succulents that a customer buys at once. The revenue function is continuous. Remember that continuous part because it does come in handy later. So part A wants us to show that A has a value of 21 in the revenue equation above. So this is where it's important to remember this continuous section. The reason being that in order to find the value of this revenue equation, we need to kind of use the points where these equations come together to help us do it. So for example, basically I'm going to take the point where this equation here is likely to run into this equation here, which is at this point of 20 succulents. So now I know that this one here says that it's got to be, S must be greater than 20, which means that technically it can't be 20. But we've been told that the equations are continuous, which means that it's incredibly likely that the start of this line will look as though it starts at a value of 20 for our number of succulents. So I'll kind of show you what I mean there. We take that equation that we've been given, S minus 20, and now we're going to substitute a value of 20 succulents into this equation here. 6 plus 2, 20 minus 20. So that's going to end up being 66 plus 2 times 0, which is of course 0, which just means 66 should be the value that we find right at the beginning of this line, or this equation, the line of this equation. So that would be the starting point there, which means that our finishing point for this line should finish at a value of 66, which will come in handy in a moment, and you'll see why. So if we also attribute 20 succulents to that same equation, to this equation here, a plus 3, s minus 5, we would have a plus 3 times 20 minus 5, which would be a plus 3 times 15, which would be a plus 45. Technically, because we've put in the same amount of succulents, those 20 and 20 succulents, our a plus 45 should be equal to 66, because this is a continuous equation. So having the same amount of succulents should give us the same value for those succulents. Rearranging this, we should see that a, what have I got here? That a is equal to 21, and that's all you need to see there. Let me separate this out a bit. So we've substituted 20 succulents into each of these equations, and they should give us the same value. So 66 should be equal to a plus 45, which means that a must have a value of 21. And that satisfies part A. Part B then wants to know, what is the revenue Jeremiah receives for selling 15 succulents to one customer? Well, we know now that 15 falls within this equation here, and we know that our value of A is 21. So what we're going to put in here is 21 plus 3 times 15 minus 5 should give us our answer. So working this down, we should get 21 plus 3, 15 minus 5 becomes 10. We get 21 plus 30, which is 51, which therefore means that what's the revenue? That should be $51. Excellent. Part C says, what is the maximum number of succulents Jeremiah can sell to one customer before making a loss? Now, we've given one little clue much earlier in the well, in this question that helps us out here, and that is that our cost is equal to $2.80. So our cost would be equal to 2.8s. And what we want to find is the point where this coincides with one of these equations. Now, if you get your calculator out, or once again use that Desmos website if you don't have your calculator handy, plot these three lines, try and understand where they would be effective and where they wouldn't be, and try and find the point where this line, this 2.8s, or you might have that replaced with 2.8x, and each of these replacing the s with x on your calculators, 2.8s, where that coincides with one of these lines that's in effect. Now you should find that that ends up coinciding with this line here. So what we're going to do is figure out, well, we know that the break-even point is where cost is equal to revenue. And assumedly, Jeremiah is making profit all the way up until his bargains get too good and he's no longer making a profit. So we're looking for the point where C is equal to R, which in this scenario is going to be 2.8s is equal to 66 plus 2s minus 20. Solving this equation using your calculator or doing it by hand should get you to an answer of s equals 32.5. Rereading the question, what is the maximum number of succulents Jeremiah can sell to one customer before making a loss? Well, the number of succulents isn't an exact number of succulents. We've got 32.5, which means that at 32 succulents, he won't be making a loss, as he wasn't making a loss all the way up until 32.5. However, at 33 succulents, Jeremiah would be making a loss, because this is more than this point here, the 32.5, so he would have stepped over into a loss. So we can't sell 33. The answer is not 32.5, because we can't have half a succulent or sell half a succulent. The maximum number of succulents is 32 succulents. So I might even just rewrite that here. 32 succulents. And there you have it. If you guys have any questions about this question, please leave them in the comment section below.